If you've been scrolling through endless NAS listings, watching video after video trying to figure out which box actually fits your office or home office workflow, this review is here to cut through the noise. I've spent a few days setting up the Buffalo TeraStation 5820DN in a real-world small business environment, reading the official specs, and looking at the handful of user ratings that are out there. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's talk about what it really feels like to live with an 8-bay, 80 terabyte storage server and whether the price tag actually translates into peace of mind. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have is the fear of overpaying for a rack-mount style system that ends up gathering dust in a closet. The TeraStation isn't a flashy, consumer-grade appliance. It's built to sit on a desk or a low shelf and serve as the central file hub for a team of 5 to 10 people. The fact that it ships with 420 terabytes NAS-grade drives already configured in RAID 5 means you get about 54 terabytes of usable space right out of the box. That's a lot of room for video projects, large design files, or a growing archive of client work, and it spares you the hassle of buying separate drives and setting up the RAID yourself. When I powered it up, the first thing I noticed was the native 10 GB port. In theory, that's a huge advantage for anyone who needs to move terabytes of data quickly. Think of a post-production house ingesting raw footage or a CAD team sharing massive assemblies. In practice, the speed you see depends on your network infrastructure. If you have a 10 GB switch and compatible NICs, the transfers are genuinely fast. A 4 terabytes folder copy that would have taken hours on a 1 GB link finished in under 10 minutes. For smaller offices that are still on 1 GB, the box will simply fall back to that speed, which is still respectable for a file server but eliminates the headline-grabbing 10 GB advantage. One of the core promises of the TeraStation is data protection. The hardware includes a 256-bit encryption engine, and the firmware offers snapshot capabilities. In real use, snapshots turned out to be a practical safety net. I set up an hourly snapshot schedule for a shared media folder, and when a junior editor accidentally deleted an entire project folder, the system let us roll back to the previous hour with just a couple of clicks in the web console. No third-party backup software needed, and the process was fast enough that it didn't disrupt the rest of the team. Cloud integration is another area where the TeraStation tries to add value. It can sync with Dropbox, Amazon S3, Microsoft Azure, and OneDrive. I tested the S3 sync for a backup archive. The initial upload of a 1.2 terabytes library took about a day, which is realistic given internet upload limits. Once the baseline was set, incremental changes synced overnight without any manual intervention. If your workflow already lives in the cloud, this can act as a local cache, reducing latency for daily work while still keeping an off-site copy. Now, who should actually buy this thing? If you run a small creative studio, an engineering team, or a medical office that deals with large imaging files, the TeraStation gives you a single, manageable point of storage that scales up to 80 terabytes. The built-in RAID and snapshots mean you're protected against single-disk failures and accidental deletions without having to purchase separate backup appliances. It also appeals to IT-savvy users who want a set-and-forget device with enterprise-grade features but don't need the overhead of a full-blown CN. On the flip side, a home user who just wants to stream movies or back up a few laptops probably won't appreciate the cost or the need for a 10 GB network to truly benefit from the hardware. For that audience, a simpler 2-bay NAS or even a consumer-grade external RAID would be more sensible. Practical strengths are clear. The pre-installed drives remove the guesswork of buying compatible HDDs. The RAID 5 configuration offers a good balance of capacity and redundancy, and the snapshot feature is genuinely usable for recovery. The 10 GB port, while impressive on paper, becomes a hidden trade-off if your existing network can't keep up. Upgrading to a 10 GB switch and NICs adds a few $100s to the total cost, which some buyers might overlook when they see the box price. Another nuance is the web-based management interface. It's fairly intuitive for basic tasks, but digging into advanced settings like fine-tuning iSCSI targets or detailed access controls requires a bit of reading through the manual. It's not a barrier, but it does mean the device isn't as plug-and-play as some consumer NAS units. Thermal performance is worth mentioning too. 8 bays packed with 420 terabytes drives generate noticeable heat, and the unit's built-in fan runs constantly. In a small office with decent airflow, the temperature stayed within safe limits, but in a cramped server closet you might notice a modest increase in ambient temperature. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to account for when planning placement. One criticism that surfaces when you look at the rating 4 out.